just leaving my apartment to go to the grocery store 2 blocks was like a huge thing for me. Like I would come home and just fall on the floor bawling my eyes out.
Hello, you're listening to Strangers in Passing, episode 10. I'm back from an unexpected hiatus, aka Life Happens. If you haven't listened to part 1, you can download episode 9 on iTunes, Google, wherever you're listening to this, pretty much. In this episode, I'm not gonna lie, I get a little emotional, she gets a little emotional, we both got a little emotional. We talk about car accident, social anxiety, and kind of just moving forward with your life. So give it a listen. If you like what you're hearing, please hit subscribe. Please leave a comment down below if there is room for a comment. And I'll see you in 2 weeks for the next episode of Strangers in Passing. At the Zine Fair, you mentioned something about being in a car accident like a couple of years ago.
Mm-hmm.
Can we talk about that?
Yeah, for sure. It was pretty crazy. I was just walking to work one day and a car went through an intersection and I was a pedestrian. I got hit on my right side. It's been like 2 years of recovery. At first it wasn't too bad, but then I developed chronic pain in my back and knee and neck, like basically my whole right side. It was brutal. I can only ever empathize with people who've lived with chronic pain, but to experience it for myself was like, it was definitely a life-changing experience.
What happened with the driver? Like, did you find out why that, like, the person even lost control, or like, were they texting?
I'm not too sure. It it was in December, and when he hit me, I went onto the hood of the car, and I was kind of on the hood of the car when another car pulled in front of his car, and he said, I saw everything. And so like both cars pulled over. I was still on the hood. Like it was kind of a little bit weird. And as soon as I got off the hood of the car, I had my phone out. I was taking pictures already. And then at that point, the other guy had come over, and I was like, I saw everything. Are you okay? And then the driver came out, and he was a really young guy, like early 20s. He was shaking and almost in tears, like could barely even speak. And I was actually the one consoling him. Yeah.
What part of the city was this on? Is this in Edmonton?
Yes, this was in Edmonton.
Okay.
This was just off of White Ave.
Of course.
Where the keg is there.
Right.
On 81st and 105.
Yeah.
And he was going west on 81st, and I was walking north on 105, and I was on the west side of the street.
Okay.
And I was more than halfway through the intersection, and he still had snow on his vehicle, and the rear window wasn't even defrosted. So what I guess happened was that he just kind of got in his car and started driving. And like it was December, so it was kind of dark out, but I mean it's also a very well lit intersection.
Yeah.
And he just went through the intersection, and then he said, oh, I didn't even see you. I'm like, I'm so sorry. I didn't even see you. And I was like, well, you're the fucking driver, dude. Like, you need to be paying attention.
Yeah.
But at the same time, too, I was like, I think we kind of lucked out on this one. I'm not going to say that I'm okay, because I don't know if I am. But I'm up, and, like, I think I can walk away from this. I'm in shock. I know I'm in shock. I'm going to have to go to the doctor and everything, but we exchanged information, and I was like actually like rubbing his shoulder like, dude, it's going to be okay.
That's crazy, because he should be doing that to you.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah, it definitely should have, but like, that's just the empathetic kind of compassionate person I am. I did end up developing PTSD. Like, I had, just told you all about my my past with like the drug experience and everything. Like, I had gone through a lot of depression and anxiety when I was a teenager, and I went through a lot of therapy for it. And as an adult, I've always thought that, like, I always consider myself a really strong person, and I've always been the support to friends going through depression and anxiety. Like, I've been there, I know what it's like, and I'm always there for people. When I started having the chronic pain, the insurance situation was a total nightmare too, and that started triggering my anxiety and depression. I ended up having PTSD. Like, it was very difficult for me to even leave my apartment at times. Like, I became really afraid of cars. Like, I had a really hard time being in a vehicle in traffic or crossing intersections, and just leaving my apartment to go to the grocery store 2 blocks was like a huge thing for me. Like, I would come home and just fall on the floor, bawling my eyes out, hysterical, and was having anxiety attacks every day. It was a really difficult last couple of years. That was kind of part of the breakup that I just went through too. Just kind of realizing that I feel like I need to be on my own to grow through this. Like, I went through cognitive behavioral therapy, and it challenges trauma, and going through it challenged other traumas that I had been through too. And it was really difficult because I had to relive all of the worst parts of my life, but challenging those parts of my life just made me so much stronger. And, like, honestly, like, I feel like I could do anything. Like, I know there's things that scare the shit out of me still, and it's hard for me to go to shows sometimes even.
Yeah.
Be okay with being uncomfortable. Like, challenging yourself is the best thing you can do for yourself. Anxiety, every time you avoid something because of anxiety, it takes that from you. So if you aren't comfortable going to a grocery store, if you're not comfortable going out and socializing, or, like, sure, there's definitely things that should make you uncomfortable and you shouldn't do them. But if it's things in a quote unquote normal life that you want to do but are afraid to do it, anytime you don't do it, anxiety is taking that from you, and you may never get that back. So if you can recognize what it is, and identify it and just challenge yourself and push through it, it always gets easier. And eventually it's like not even a conscious thing. You can just do all of the things that you were like totally afraid of. Like, dude, I never thought I would escort before.
Yeah.
And there's like a whole bunch of things that I've done now that I never ever thought that I would do, that I just said, you know what, I'm scared shitless of doing this, I'm gonna do it. And it's pushing me into 2019 with this new attitude of, like, I can do anything. Like, what do I want to do? 2019 is mine. Like, there's nothing that can stop me. Once you start pushing through anxieties, it gets so much easier, and it becomes really fun. And, like, now I'm kind of thinking, like, you know what? I think I'm going to buy a bicycle and go around North America on a bicycle.
Cool.
Because, like I'm single now. I don't, and I want to challenge myself to do, like, the craziest things I could ever think of, and, talk to people that scare the shit out of me, do the things that scare the shit out of me. Just everything that you do, it's like they're just cool experiences to add to your life, and and then you have cool stories to talk to strangers with.
Right. On podcasts.
Yeah.
Oh my God. So when you're talking about how anxiety takes things away from you, I was like, and I still am, I'm like tearing up because
Aw.
I have such bad anxiety. Oh my God. I'm going to edit this out. I'm not even joking.
Okay.
Sorry.
Because I'm going to start crying too.
Sorry. But I have such bad anxiety, and like even coming to talk to you at the zine fair, it was hard for me to do that. But it's like
Aw.
if I didn't talk to you, then I wouldn't have met you.
Yeah,
Right?
totally.
So, oh my God. Sorry.
That's okay.
And it's just like so weird because we're the same age and you're like talking about doing all these things that challenge you, and I'm just like, I feel like I'm just over here playing it safe.
Oh, and dude, I'm looking at you and I'm like, you're on Tinder and seeing your Instagram, and I'm just like, girl, how are you like so wild on your Tinder game? Like, I don't even want to get into that.
Yeah, but it's different because it's online, right? But like in
Yes.
person, like I would never, like, even though like I don't think escorting is like bad or like a big deal or anything, I don't think that I would do it. And like
Yeah.
just like random things that other people do, I'm just like, I want to do that. Or like, yeah, I'd piss in a cup and make someone drink it, but when it came down to it, I'd probably be too scared, right?
Yeah.
So I want to be like you this year. You're my role model this year.
Oh, thank you. Okay, well, here's one thing that I learned that changed everything for me. The 3 questions that you ask yourself in a situation that scares you.
Okay.
First of all, what's the worst that can happen? So, like, for me, I was really freaked out about going to shows because I was in so much pain from the car accident. I had developed this feeling that I was like a worthless piece of shit, basically. Like, it was like I have nothing to offer. Like, all I can talk about is how much pain I'm in, how depressed I am, and just like how much I hate the world. Like, I didn't really know how to communicate with people, and I'm gonna try not to tear up.
Oh.
I'm so thankful for my friend who just always invited me out, and I would go with her support. But it's okay. Like, for me, it was going to shows. So I would ask myself, what's the worst thing that could happen? Like, the worst thing that could happen is I go out to a show and nobody wants to talk to me. Like, they can just tell that I'm a loser because I'm in pain and because I'm depressed, and like, or maybe they talk to me and I don't have anything to talk about, and they're like, this girl's a loser and I don't want to talk to her. Like, I mean, that's about the worst thing that I can think of, is that people can identify that I'm a loser. So that's question 1. What's the worst thing that could happen? Number 2 is based on evidence, or, like, how realistic is that? And then, so I would think, well, I've been to lots of shows before and people have never, ever treated me like that. And I've met people at shows and I've never treated anyone like that. So I really can't ever see that actually being a reality. Like, so it's okay. The likelihood of that happening is pretty slim.
Yeah.
It kind of burst the bubble a little bit there. And then the third question is, how would you cope? So if I went to a show and people didn't talk to me because they thought that I was a loser, then okay, maybe shows aren't my thing. But I mean, like, I've gone to shows before where I haven't talked to people, and oh well, I just didn't talk to people that time, and I'll go to another show and next time I'll try talking to people. And just always learning and growing from experiences. That's another thing too, is just like, there's no bad things that can happen in life. Like, sure, really shitty things can happen, but everything that happens is an opportunity for growth.
Yeah.
So, like, if I did go to a show and people thought that I was a loser, well, you know what? They're losers for thinking that I'm a loser.
Exactly.
And I don't need people like that in my life. And asking myself those 3 questions have really helped me to get through a lot of things. Yeah, there's lots of things. Like, I've been getting into like urban exploration stuff lately, and
Cool.
going into like a dark tunnel by myself and hearing weird noises. And it's like, this is like one of the scariest things I can possibly think of doing, and I'm doing it, and I survived. And everything you survive is just another thing that makes you stronger.
I like that.
Yeah. And I mean, that's definitely helped me with, yeah, so much stuff lately, like the last few months, because I broke up in like August. I got my apartment. I live by myself in August, and since then, like, the world has been nuts. And so cool, and I'm just like so excited about the future too, because like, yeah, I mean, who knows what's gonna happen, and I'm not dying from doing all this crazy shit.
No, I like that attitude a lot. I'm gonna take those 3 questions and apply them when I feel anxious about doing something. Definitely.
Sweet. I really, and I think it will totally, like, it, once you start breaking down those walls, I think you'll feel it too. And it's like, it's almost like an invincibility feeling. Like, don't get me wrong, I still definitely feel anxious about things. But I mean, like, I went to a show the other night by myself. I knew that some people were going to be there that I'm friends with, but I was like, you know what? I'm just going to go by myself. And like, nobody thought I was a loser.
Yeah.
Everyone was excited to see me.
My favorite part of this episode is just hearing how strong she is and how she knows she's going to be okay. It just will take a little bit of time. Anyways, thank you so much for listening to this episode of Strangers in Passing. I'll be back in 2 weeks with a new episode, I promise. And if you like what you're hearing, please hit subscribe, leave a comment below if you can. So the next time you see someone standing alone in a room full of people, maybe you approach them, unless they smell like cheese. If so, then run far, far away. Bye!